Good evening and welcome to Flat Earth United. Joining me this evening is Gary John, organiser of the Flat Earth UK Convention 2018. How you doing, Gary?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks. And you?
Not too bad. Not too bad at all. So we've done one show from the bare bones idea of the convention, which has changed name from conference to convention as it's grown. Maybe we'll get to that a bit later. But yeah, it's gone from, like I say, bare bones to pretty much. Well, you take it from there. You tell me where it's at. Give us an update.
Well, as you probably recall, that last, what is it, week and a half ago, I think it was, the actual website, no, almost 2 weeks ago, the website was released officially in all its glory. And obviously it's detailing the speakers, the print, all the contact details and obviously tickets and all the options that go with that. So it's all out there now.
So what's the website called? Or what's the address?
I'm going to read it to make sure I don't get it wrong. It's www.flatearthconvention.uk, and there's the logo as well, which I don't know if you can see that, but
Yeah, that came out quite well. No problem. Your resolution's a bit low, but to be honest, on the
good.
behind the scenes feed, so this show runs concurrently with an OBS feed, which if you were watching that, you'd know that anyway. But yeah, on that, I played out the Hoary Sheet shows advertising for the UK convention, as it was labelled. No, it was called the conference, wasn't it? Let me just get it right. It was going back a little bit. So yeah, the UK conference, which is now called the convention. But it was a very slick advert that Hoary did, details of what you exactly needed to know and what it was about. But can you tell us what exactly is a Flat Earth convention and what can people expect?
Obviously, this is all to do with interpretation of a conference to a convention. But just to give you the differences between the two, in my opinion, as a conference is where people, flat earthers or whoever are spoken to a given length of time, which in this case is 2.5 days, whereas a convention is where it's more interactive, because we obviously got the and we've got the area this where people can talk about experiments they've carried out or they will be carrying out or they'd like to brainstorm, and an answer section on the Saturday. That then makes it more interactive than just literally just going to listen to a conference. So in talking to Darren Nesbitt and a few other people, it was concluded that in reality it's evolved into a convention. So it was changed, and obviously that you mentioned, and you did a great job. So much work have been, just a lot of work just for the sake of one name. So we decided to leave it because of need. Being needed would just literally wasn't worth it.
Fair enough. So can you tell us who's going to be? So can you tell us who's going to be?
Okay, I'll do it by country because it's a lot easier for me to remember. In the United States, we've got Mark Sargent and John de Morgar. In Spain, we have Oliver Ibanez Ludlow. In Holland, we've got Mike Kavanagh. Some great work lately. I don't know if you've seen some of his videos he's putting out. In the UK, we have from the north, we have Darren Nesbitt. In the Midlands, we have Sean Connors and Dave Marsh. Allegedly Dave down in Sussex. In South Wales, we've got Martin Leakey. And I have now decided, I don't know if I said this to you the last time when we spoke, I don't think I was, but I have actually now decided that I'm going to speak as well. I'm actually working on a survey that I think is actually Flat Earth that I would like to present to people. It's a work in progress. It's still like, I'm 1 month or 2 months into a 9-month program that I would like to release the results. But I'm not actually saying too much about what it to be. I want it to be a little bit of a surprise what the results are.
Okay, I'm intrigued now because Martin Leaker were discussing what he described as you flat smacking people on the street, and it might be that you're not flat smacking people, you're actually surveying them, right?
Yes, yeah, him. Yeah, you're very close to the mark there.
Ah, so people at the UK,
but it's the cool.
You go ahead. You go ahead.
Sorry, could you say that again?
I was just going to say,
could you repeat the question?
We'll get the actual information from that survey from you, correct?
Yeah. Yes. Yes, that's right. I'm asking particular questions, and I want to, depending on the results, will dictate how it's presented.
Okay, that's kind of robbed me slightly of a line of questioning that I was going to go along, which was about your quote unquote flat smacking.
Yeah.
I don't know. Can you tell us limited information about what you've been doing? Probably not. No, you said that.
God. It's not a big secret, but I just feel that if I can release the results, and I'd like to think it's unique. What I've asked, what I'm asking people, it's not just asking. They're not that special. It's the analysis that is the important part, I think. To say, because I either say it or I don't, and I don't know if there's any happy ground, happy medium, really. And again, it's not a big deal. It's not like everyone's going to be shocked at my information. It's just the fact that I don't think what I'm doing with Flat Earth. They've obviously done it in industry, but not to do with Flat Earth. Where I've never seen anyone ever report what I'm going to report.
Very intriguing.
So I'm sorry. I think Patricia Steer said the same thing. I think Karen as well.
So maybe I can ask you a slightly different question then. So on a personal level, how have you got on talking about Flat Earth with people in general? There you go.
It's been very interesting. I've had some unusual responses and some really good responses. But I have no problem with talking to anyone about anything, really. So from a physical point of view, actually doing it's easy. And I've actually recruited through our mixer in Cardiff, spoke to about it. And he's only one of the few people in the world who know about what I'm doing, and he's actually helping. So I can't, because you didn't ask him.
It is members of the general public.
Yeah, he's doing it.
Right.
Yeah, it's literally just random people that have been asked certain questions, and I'm then going to collate the data.
Good stuff. So throughout the 3-day event, from what you told me last time, it was sort of loosely organised around having a more laid-back day on the Friday, and then a more sort of structured day on the Saturday and Sunday. Is that pretty much stayed exactly as is?
Yes, I'm not too sure. I can't remember exactly what you and I discussed last time, reference to Sunday, but did I say to you that I would like it to be, and in talking to the speakers, it looks like it's going this way, that it's going to be a debate about the model and other things. It can be other subjects as well, but the main subject I would like to be debated is the model that the particular speaker actually supports. Because as you know, there's different people that think there's a pizza map or the round, the square map, or is it concave, is it hollow earth? There's so many different versions that I just think it's probably about time that maybe a debate was carried out. So I've asked the speakers if they would be interested in having a debate, and I wouldn't say they jumped on it, but I think that's kind of would sum it up, that they're all willing to do their thing. So the way I think I have to do it, and I think I have to be quite strong on this, is that each speaker has so long their point, and then the other speakers didn't get a chance to do theirs, and then there will be the rebuttals. And it may be that each individual speaker wants to do it alone, or they may want to do it in a group, a certain model. Do they do it as a collective? And that's something to still be sorted out.
That's definitely new, very controversial. I like it. Very exciting. I'm sure it won't be confrontational.
Yeah, I think it. One thing I will say to you, though, Nathan, is that I deliberately have gone for the Sunday, because that way, if it was was on the Saturday and it was all out war, then the Sunday may not happen. So let's get the Saturday out of the way. Let's do the presentation and question and answer section. That's clean, and then the Sunday could be whatever. So in effect, what you have is Friday. Friday is going to be a fluid. If we find that the open mic session ends up taking up most of the evening because it was really popular, then I'm not going to stop that. But then we just cut back a little bit on the speakers and also the experiments. If the experiments seem to dominate, then obviously it's a fluid type of evening. And I don't know if it's a good idea or not. I think it is, but we'll soon find out. But the Saturday is the more formal. Do their presenting, but I don't want them to present if they get 40 minutes each. I don't want them to present for 40 minutes because that's no different to people just going to YouTube and just listening to a speaker. I think the interactive question or questions and open up a debate within their subject matter is the type of thing that I'm interested in. And it's not just me. I've also got feedback from a lot of people when I did my initial research about doing all of this. And the Sunday was going to be a backup to the Saturday, but it's now evolved into a debate. And I don't actually see any reason why also people in the audience can't get involved in that as well. It doesn't have to be just the speakers, but predominantly that's the plan.
Wow, I think it sounds very cool. I mean, I think it's a win-win because universally, even the concave community agree that we don't live on a heliocentric ball, and the heliocentric ball is the accepted standard. So therefore, universally, there's not going to be anybody there saying, well, I think, and then spurting a load of mainstream rhetoric. That isn't going to be happening. So yes, there's going to be lots of speculation and hopefully presentation of evidence, but ultimately speaking, it will be a cordial debate. It's not going to. I don't think you're going to have people throwing it at each other and getting angry about the flat Earth model. I just don't see it. I don't know
about you. Sorry about this. Can you jump? Yeah. It's a thoroughfare. Yeah, so right, but I am actually going to bring eggs because I just feel that if any eggs need to be thrown, then obviously they're going to be. I don't want them left hanging. I will be supplying some cooked, some raw.
I see. So if there's any eggs pelted coming from you, will they, Gary?
What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I've got like if you excuse the pun, I'm going to have a shell suit covered up and with the goggles, so I'm going to be totally safe. So everyone else can actually get covered.
We haven't actually mentioned the address yet. We should really.
Yes, obviously on the website, but it's Jury's Inn, and it's I actually did do the postcode, so people can look it up if I can remember where I put it. I don't remember. I know it's B1. Oh yeah, it's B1 2HQ, and it's actually in the heart of Birmingham.
The Jury's Inn, Birmingham.
I can't remember the number.
Jury 1. Do you want to just read it?
If I remember rightly, I think it's Broad Street, isn't it? If I remember rightly. I haven't looked lately, but I think it's Broad Street. But it's central London. Birmingham even.
So Jury's Inn, Broad Street, Birmingham, B1. What was the rest of it?
2HQ.
Birmingham B1 2HQ.
Hotel Quebec.
Rattle off the dates as well, just so we'll do it again. We'll plug it a few more times.
I remember the last time when I did it a few times. It's the 27th, 28th and 29th of April 2018.
Okay, now I've got a couple of subjects. You can choose which one you want to tackle first. So before we started the main stream, you explained that you'd had some detractors. That's part one. Well, let's just. I've already opened up that floodgate, so let's just go straight into that. Why not?
Yeah, it kind of happened beforehand when you and I spoke last time, but it's happened again where over a 2 or 3 day period, I was absolutely apart on the internet, just to say that I'm obviously out to scam people. There's two things. It seems to be centered on Mark Sargent is a shill. So how dare I actually have an event where Mark Sargent's coming? That's point one. And the other one is I'm clearly out to make money. So, and just, it's not a secret. I actually, I've got my own business, and it's actually looking after firefighting equipment. So I'm even plugging my own business here. And all it is, I go to customer sites to actually make sure their fire systems are working, because where a fire brigade wouldn't be able to get there quick enough, I put in systems that actually will do it automatically. So no big secret. I have my own business, and it's only small, but it ties me over. And the other thing, it seems to be that a lot of people seem to be concerned about my name. And my actual full name is Gary John Heather. I've never used my surname on social media, just haven't, in 7 years. And people also seem to be worried about the fact that I've only had my profile on Gary John since May. And the reason for that is, when I first set up Facebook, I never wanted to use my surname, because I thought, the way I look at it is, if I wanted to contact people, I would contact them because I want to, not because I want them to contact me. So I always use my middle name. And then when it eventually came to the point I got into Flat Earth, I just carried on with that. I wanted to actually do a convention. I needed a Facebook account that was just unique for Flat Earth. And it happened to be in May, because I listened to what Jaron said about he wasn't going to the convention. And I thought it went on, and possibly with some people in Europe, possibly not. But people seem to be getting hung up on the fact that the profile didn't start until May. Mark Sargent's a shill. How dare I invite him? And 3, I must be making money. What do I do for a living? Maybe I live off what I can make from people. Yeah, I was attacked. But unfortunately, or fortunately, the person attacking me is a little wimp. That he asked to meet him face to face. I've also asked him what he did for a living, and details about him, and he didn't seem to want to say that. So he's very quick to ask, but he doesn't like to answer. Yeah, so these people are out there, but I'm sure Robbie's in the same place, and part of the course.
So have you, or do you want to address any of those things? So maybe start with Mark Sargent. How dare you invite a shill to your conference, or to your convention? Sorry.
Okay, that's a very good point. Everything I've ever come across, and also Patricia's coming as well, but she's going to buy her own ticket, so she's not been invited, but she's more than welcome. We would love to have her with us. I've got to be honest, I can only go by what I found. Everything I've ever had with Mark and everything I've ever had with Patricia, to be fair, have all been very professional and upfront, and they've all been saying the right things and doing the right things. I've had some unusual conversations with some people that are not on the list, but that's something I'm not going to go into. But I've ever come across, and he's always sending me links to things. He sent me a survival email, which I thought was very useful. He puts people towards us that want to know more about the Flat Earth Convention. Everything I've come across from Mark, and the same for Patricia, to be fair. So when you get people saying, "Oh, they're a shill," great, but where's the evidence? I haven't seen it. Now, that doesn't mean they're not shills. I don't know. But it just annoys me that they just say the words, but they don't back it up. So I've said to what? You come to the convention, I will pay for your ticket for a day, and I will make sure that I ask Mark if they will spend time with you, and you can take to him face to face, you're a shill. Guess what? Why is that, I wonder? Because some people walk the walk, some people talk the talk, and a lot of these are talkers.
Fair enough. Good answer. So what about you and what you do, and how does that relate back to being the organizer of a conference? Your living in general, I mean.
Oh, you mean what do I do for business? Is that what you mean?
You don't have to answer that. I mean, it's just one of those, you've been asked and you've aired it here, so there may be other people. I normally think of it in terms of ratings. So, if you've got a Nielsen box, you're representative of about 10,000 people. So if you've been asked one question, or if you get one complaint, the list goes on and on. There's a good chance that there's other people who are thinking the same thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's no secret. I don't mind. I haven't quite got a website for this company. I just never got around to it. But I've actually paid for it now. To have it. But my company name's Total Fire UK Limited. been going since 2009, since 2001, but we merged and demerged a few times. So I only employ one other person. We're very small, but I do a select. So I do a certain type of work that is not the usual within the fire industry. Nothing secret, nothing special. But again, this person, he was asking, wasn't asking as such. It was almost like accusing that I clearly am probably not employed. I must be making my money from doing things like this, which I must admit, if that was the case, I would go broke, wouldn't I? I wouldn't be able to eat. So, I mean, bearing in mind, Nathan, just as you probably already know, I've already put in, including going to Holland for some meetings, I've already put in £1,300 of my own money. So I just wonder, these people that are actually pointing their fingers, what have they put into financially?
It's a tricky one, because I know why you want to justify what you've put into it, but as far as I'm concerned, making a profit from doing anything that involves time and effort is perfectly acceptable. You know, it seems unreasonable to demand time and effort and not get paid for it, in my view. But I mean, I don't know how you see it, maybe differently to me.
Yeah, I can see your point, but I think from my point of view, yes, my time isn't free, of course, but the way I look at it is, if I manage to get everything paid for, and I mentioned the hotel paid for that weekend as almost like a return, then I'd be very pleased with that. You know, that's what I would. You know, that means in that it clearly has made enough money to do that. But the way I look at it is, for me, if it makes enough money, I mean, at this moment, I haven't got to even to provide the tickets. That's how close the margins are. So these people that think it's going to be making a huge profit, well, I can't see it. So you have to show me where this is. You haven't. To be fair, if most people actually end up losing their early bird option and they end up buying a standard ticket, then yeah, that will probably move closer into, it will make more money than it would cost to put on the event. But that just means that I do one of two things. I either make the event slightly better, I could improve on if I had the money, or it will go into future events, like I was saying to you before we started this about the European Convention that I want to put on. But the thing is, convention, and I spoke to Robbie about this, about the putting on a webinar. The cost for a webinar is huge, and I've worked out that 3,800, which is including the VAT, and that is only covering up to 100 people. And as you put on more people, that cost goes up. But the break-even point for that is about 200 people. Now, if I end up having 80 people pay £20 each, I should have actually, in theory, charged them £40 each. So I'm already to £2,000. So if I make a little bit on the convention side, that will just offset the webinar. But there's more chance it's going to lose money. And if it loses money, it comes out of my pocket. So when these people are throwing eggs at me, they haven't got a clue what they're talking about. But then that's no change there, because they're pretty good at talking rubbish.
What's the webinar section then?
It's literally an opportunity for streaming for the Saturday and Sunday. I haven't decided Friday as well, because again, it puts up the cost. But it's so people around the world who either can't make the convention because of distance, the location, or maybe they can't, whether they will be able to download live, and it just means that anyone in the world can access it if they wish.
Presume that's pay-per-view.
Have a professional company. Sorry?
I was just going to say that's pay-per-view, so as opposed to what you and I are doing now, it's just streaming for free on YouTube. You actually buy a ticket and then you get access via the web site, presumably.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I've got to talk to them about how we do the link that people get, like a unique link that is only for them. I don't know how that works. So that's where they come in. But I need to have a technician there for the audio and video. I need another technician there to do the webinar, and the cost of the hire of the equipment and all their setup time, server space, and the whole setup. Because if it's I was talking to Robbie about this, and he was right in saying that if you do this and you do not do it in a professional way, it will really undermine everything. And I can't afford to do that. I just can't risk to wing it.
Thanks for that, Robbie.
I have to invest.
No pressure added at all.
Yeah, no. So it's been useful actually talking to Robbie, though, because he's obviously facing it front on. He's come, face on. He's literally a month away from it going live. We have a lot learned from that, I think. So that's going to be interesting to see.
It's handy to have it's just a test bed for the UK one, really, isn't it? The American one.
Yeah, it's a trial run, isn't it? It's a trial run in North Carolina for the real one that's actually in the UK next year.
Correct. The main event will be, of course, in the UK, and they'll warm up the audience and all the rest of it, and hopefully, but there's a good chance you will. People may get more hungry for the event based on what they see on the American webinar. That's a new word on me. I've got to be honest, but yeah, good word. It makes sense. It's pretty obvious what it means, but yeah, still pleased that you detailed what exactly you'll be getting. So it's just nice because for some people, the travel for a start, if you're not in the UK, the chances are that it's going to be dearer to actually attend the conference or the convention. I have to stop saying conference, attend the convention. But if you can just,
I'm easy with both, but convention is what it is.
Yeah, streaming it is just a doddle, and if it's a few quid, obviously well worth it because you can't attend. So marvelous, I love it. Can you tell the audience what is that taken? You've mentioned a bit about chatting to Robbie Davidson of Celebrate Truth, who's organising the American convention. But what has it actually taken to get to the point where you can say yes, you can buy a ticket, yes, you'll be able to stream it? What's it taken?
Are you talking about the webinar now?
In general, to go from our last conversation to this conversation, what have you had to put in physically? I wanted to try and make the audience aware that it's not just a few phone calls to people like Robbie and then a couple of Skype messages, and I want people to be completely aware.
No, it certainly hasn't. No. Well, it's probably been something like 100 phone calls to the hotel and probably about 50 emails to try and fine-tune exactly what package, because the option I've gone for, and it may be that I wouldn't do this in the future, and I would like to talk to you a little bit later about what I'm thinking that we're going to maybe do in Europe, is package. And the delegate package is a minimum of 200 people at £29 per person per day. So I can't remember the exact maths, but I think it's something like 16,000 turnover goes on that alone, hotel rooms. So 2/3 of the ticket price is going to the hotel. And to answer your question about what's been involved, I mean, I've had a number of meetings with the web people and calls and emails, and honestly the list is endless. The hotel has been a big one. That's why when people come to me and say, oh, why don't you just go and get another hotel? And like I said to you on the last chat that we had, that it's easier said than done, because you go to them, okay, now I know a date that I want and I now know an idea of numbers. But you start negotiating with these people, and of course they want to know. Some people want upfront deposits. For instance, in Europe, we're talking to a particular venue, they want 80% upfront. Now, if you've got a bigger venue, 80% of a lot more money is a lot more money. So it's like, who funds that? Where does that money come from? So to be fair, I would actually say that since I think I saw you last, I went up to Birmingham to have a meeting with them, and I actually found that the hotel room isn't ideal because it's got pillars in the way, which I would have to try and work out how I was going to get around that. I've got 4 projector screens. So what will happen is the webinar will film, the webinars will film the actual the main stage, and it would then be put out to all the projector screens. So if you had somebody that was in not an ideal location, then they will be able to either see it physically live or they'll be able to see the screen. And to speakers move up and down, then obviously there's sometimes be in zone. Hence why I've actually gone for a front row, because people in front row would have a fantastic view all the time, and other people it will be first come, first serves. So yeah, I think to answer your question fully, the amount of work behind the scenes is immense, and it's taken up a hell of a lot of my time. I've got to sign a contract. I'm signing a contract with a hotel that I've got to commit to certain numbers and certain things to happen. And like the web team, okay, to be fair, they did say they'd work with me if we have a problem with the amount of numbers that go for it. But they have like their set charges that they're looking at, and it's just literally just shy of £4,000. And if we end up with more people, say you're around the world, you have say 1,000 people sign up for it, the costs go up, but it goes up at a lower rate pro rata. So then all of a sudden that then gives a balance that could actually help to put on a better event.
Very cool. Yeah, lots and lots of hard work. A couple of things before we round out the main show, because I want to keep it relatively short, just so it's got the condensed information on. But before we go through what people can expect to attend, can you tell the audience what's in it for you? So obviously there's been a fair bit of, I don't want to call it negativity, but just hard work and graft and expense. And for anybody who's listening, they might think, well, what's your motivation? What do you get out of this then?
Well, it's the reason for doing all this is because I wanted to see the speakers and whoever the speakers were, because I didn't actually start off with Mark Sargent and John the Morgar as an example. They came about because of Through Sun and Moon. I was actually on a hangout with Mark, and I was asking him, like I think you remember, I asked him if there's any chance that he could maybe do a little video for us, and he said that he would even consider coming over. I think it's because to see these speakers on YouTube is one thing, live and see a bit more about them and learn about what they believe in, how they come across. So I think it's more to do with earthers, either speakers or non-speakers, because I want to learn more and I want to be involved with these people, because you will eventually gravitate towards the people that are really like making good, big difference in a good way, and you'll move away from the people that maybe are not so. So it's literally to give me access to these people, and because there was no one else putting on a convention, I thought, okay, I will put on a convention. So it was nothing to do with making money or there's an angle here, or I was trying to promote my name, because I'm not interested in that. That's not to do with, I want to meet these people. Like for instance, since then I've met you twice. I've met Martin twice. I've met different people. I've spoken to Patricia on a couple of hangouts. A Google Hangout with her next Wednesday with Mark Sargent. All these things have come about because of doing this convention. So it's allowed me to have access to things I wouldn't have had before. Salvation really is to engage with these people.
Last of all, before we go through one last time the date, time, the place, and all the rest of that, can you just tell again to somebody who's watching this is thinking, okay, what can I expect? What would a member of the audience expect? Say you've detailed quite a lot about what would happen on the Sunday, with the idea of having a debate. But if you can maybe pick the Saturday, what would somebody, as they approach juries in, what would they expect to have happen to them as they get there? Talk me through their day.
Things when they turn up, and they obviously register. If they haven't turned up on the Friday, then they obviously will be able to mingle with other flat earthers, including the speakers. And one of the things I want to have is like a photo board, which will, in 2 seconds, it will be a big shot of that on a board, and then people can then have their photograph taken with either their friends or with other flat earth strangers or with the speakers or whoever. It can be Wales or Oyster, and they can obviously do that to the heart's content. So it's the initial people meeting up, and there'll be networking and having a chat. Because the official launch is really the Saturday morning, because I don't quite know what the Friday's going to bring. I don't know if it's going to be how many people turn up. I don't know how it's going to be received. So I'm aiming for the Saturday morning. Everything is really Saturday morning, and each speaker element of time to actually do a presentation or discussion about things that they're working on lately. And then it's open up to the audiences. So that's where the event will be as good as people make people. If, say, for instance, you had Mark Sargent speaking for 20 minutes, as an example, and not one person asks a question, then they can't then walk away disappointed that they were part of that. So it's down to the people to decide what they want out of this. And then obviously then when we have our lunch, there'd be food that's included within the ticket. And obviously tea and coffee in the first thing, there'd be tea and coffee, and there'd be tea and coffee mid-afternoon on the Saturday. And as soon as it finishes at 6 o'clock or whenever it finishes that evening, then people again will be able to engage. And the other thing that I don't know, I can't remember if we had this discussion last time, but I'm trying to do an evening where people, like Martin said, he was going to do a little bit of comedy, and Darren Nesbitt's going to play his guitar and sing, and other people, anyone in the Flat Earth who's coming, contribute to put on a fun evening. So that's the Saturday.
I can picture it now, because I'm starting to build a mental picture of how it'll be, because I can picture sipping a cup of tea or whatever and having a conversation with somebody random next to me whilst there's something going on the webinar, which is obviously going out to the public as well, but I can see it on one of the projection screens while I'm having a chit chat and, with maybe somebody that I've chatted to already or whatever on stage. So I can picture the sort of networking opportunities that people who seldom get an opportunity to join in with the Hangouts, maybe, they can actually. I don't think you're going to get people quizzing Mark about actually being a shill, but I'm sure they'll have plenty of flat Earth questions for him or whoever else is in attendance. All of the speakers that are going to be there.
I think it is though, Nathan. Yeah, I think what it is, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to turn up that have never actually met another flat earther, and that is quite special. Because I remember the very first time I went to a meet with Laura Brooker, and I was with another 20 odd people, and I was just blown away at the time before we went off to do the experiments down in Worthing, and I was just blown away to be around other flat earthers. So it's going to be as much as, like I said, it's going to be as much as people put in, because they're going to turn up and they're going to obviously network and they're just going to chat, and then they're going to be able to meet the speakers, and then the actual presentations. And again, I do not want, and that's one of the things that I was very keen on, and other people have said this as well, is I just don't want a speaker to talk for their slot. And that's it, because that's no different to just watching them on YouTube. There's no point. It's the interaction I think is important. So to actually have people asking questions, and I can't say the question I'm going to ask, but I am actually asking Mark a particular question that I need to talk to him first. Like, are you happy for me to do it? But there's a particular question that is on people that get on my nerves.
Oh, go on.
And it gives us the opportunity to do this. Well, okay. It's going to ruin it, but I was going to say to him in front of everyone, "Are you a shill?" and see what he says. Because all I want to do is, because I don't believe it, but I want to shut people up.
Yeah, I think the answer will just be no. I don't think it'll be any shocking answers. Yeah. Okay, before we show, then, can you give us the address and the time and date of the Flat Earth Conference?
It's 7 o'clock on the 27th of April, which is a Friday, and that will go on to about 10:30. The Saturday morning starts at 10:30, goes on to about 6, and the Sunday starts at 10, goes on to about 3, with obviously a little bit of time before and afterwards to mingle and mix with fellow flat earthers.
And what's the address?
Broad Street, Birmingham, B1. Oh dear. 2
HQ.
Hotel Quebec.
Brilliant stuff. And
obviously, if you book, yeah, that's it. And if you book your hotel, then obviously you obviously can get a better price if you book it early, because obviously the more the rooms get booked up, the more the prices will go up, I'm sure.
And last but not least, can you rattle off the name of the website, and then we'll round out and thank our audience, etc.
Sure. It's www.flatearthconventionuk.co.uk.
Superb. Right. With that, I will say a massive, massive thank you to Gary John for being here on Flat Earth United. I will add at this point that we will continue to stream on the behind the scenes broadcast with OBS. So first of all, to you, Gary, thank you very much for being here. Oh, have we lost Gary?
I'm still here.
Is everything? Have we still got you, Gary?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Massive thank you for being here.
I'm here. Yeah.
Yep, still here.
No, thank you very much for your time, Nathan. I've enjoyed it.
It's a pleasure. Will you hang around for a few minutes just after we finish, just for a quick chat and round out on the OBS stream?
Yeah.
Brilliant. I'll say thank you to main audience on Google+. So thank you very much to all of you who have joined us in the live chat. Be sure to check out the website for the UK conference. If you're new to this channel, be sure to hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon to keep up to date with videos from Nathan Oakley 1980. I've been Nathan Oakley. I'll see you all in the next video.